Welcome to Excel Business Math Series number 10. We're in the workbook Business Math Chapter 10. If you go to the YouTube channel, user/ExcelIsFun, scroll down, you can click on my college website link, and all the way at the bottom, Control End, is the Business Math Excel workbooks. If you're enrolled in the class at Highline, just go to our college website and download it. Hey, we got to talk about adding and subtracting. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, I know how to add and subtract in Excel. Well, I'm going to show you a couple basic things and then a couple really important tips. Now, let's look at 16 plus 15. Add-in is the word they use. We're going to add these two add-ins up. So 6 plus 5 is 11. So we put the 1 there and the 1 up here. And then 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Right there. All right, let's see how to do it here. I'm going to use the auto sum, Alt equals, and it guessed right. It's the dancing answer marching around the right cell, so I'll hit enter. Now let's try this one down here, subtraction. Minuend, subtrahend. I've never used those words in a business setting ever, but that's what they're called. And then the difference, right? The difference is common. Hey, what's the difference between these two numbers? 62 minus 43. Hey, well, we take the 2 minus 3. Well, we can't put negative 1 there, so now we have to borrow. So I'm going to take 1 from that 6 and put it up here and write 1, 2. And then since I borrowed 1 from there, there's a 5, right? So now I can take 12 minus 3 is 9, and then 5 minus 4 is 1, so 19. Now, you check the difference when you're subtracting like this. We can add the 43 and 19 and see if we get 62, and sure enough, we do. Knowing how to check your answers, especially when you are in charge of a project and have to get the numbers right, is oh so important. By the way, up here when we add these, right, add 15 and 16, well, we could take 31 and subtract 15, and we better get 16. Let's see how to do it in Excel. Equals 62 and then minus 43. Hey, wait a second. I'm going to say no because I want to see what I did wrong, and then OK, I'll fix it myself. Oh, I accidentally typed a plus, and then enter. Now let's scroll over here. There's another important idea when you're doing it in your head. Front end rounding, it's called. Look, if you got some numbers up there, you're looking at some stock numbers or some three income statements, and these are the net income, and you're just looking at them and you want to add them in your head. Hey, just convert all these to zeros, right? And then you get this, and now you can add this in your head pretty much. 12 and 11 is 23, and 4 is 27, and another 1 is 37. So the purpose of that is just to be able to estimate front end rounding. Hey, now what about decimals? Can we add decimals? Yeah. Now, in our last couple of videos, we talked about using the round function. And when we get over here, I'll show you why you don't have to add or subtract when why you don't have to use the round function when you're adding and subtracting. The reason why is it's not multiplication or division. These numbers are the numbers we want to add. And so these numbers, if we were supposed to round, would already be rounded by this point here. And so then we add them. Now, if there's a situation where you have these numbers and you are required to round, you would round them before you get to this plus. So for example, if I copy this and paste these over here, and our goal is to round them to the penny, then you would actually have to do a formula here. Equals round, click on this, comma 2 to the penny, close parentheses. I'm going to Control Enter to put it in the cell and keep the cell highlighted, and then use my fill handle to copy down. Now the point here is when you get to the adding or subtracting, you should have already done your rounding. All right, so this is easy. Alt equals is the keyboard shortcut. By the way, you could do equals this plus this, but I'll show you why that is not a good idea in the long run when we get over to this sheet. So I'm going to use Alt equals 31, 39. Now, subtracting. Let's do subtracting. Equals this minus this. Remember, if we were required to round, we would already have done it before we got to our subtraction. Now let's scroll down here. We have a little income statement. Here's some whole numbers. Income from bookkeeping, income from tax preparation. So we have to add our revenues. I'm going to Alt equals is the keyboard shortcut for AutoSum. By the way, that's the only function that has a keyboard shortcut. Why? Because AutoSum is so common. Enter. Now, right here, we need to add our total expenses. Alt equals. Make sure that the dancing ants are going around the right cells. Over here, I'll show you when that doesn't occur. This sheet is filled with some amazing tips that get most people into trouble. Enter. Now we have to do subtraction. We got all of our revenues, which are all the pluses, all of our expenses, which are all the minuses. So now we go equals total revenue minus total expenses. And then enter. So adding, subtracting. Now what about this? Can we do it with decimals? Of course. Click here, Alt equals, enter. Click here, Alt equals. Notice I'm checking the dancing ants are marching around the right number, so enter. And then equals this minus this. Now I want to show you one. I want to go over to the PDFs with these decimals. And decimals here too. For adding and subtracting decimals is easy. You just do the little lines like that. Make sure you line up all the decimals and just do subtracting or adding. Let's see how to do this. We have 6 minus, oops, we can't do 6 minus 9 because that's -3, so we have to borrow one. Oh, but if we borrow one from there, it would be 0. So then we have to go over here. But then we're left with a 2 here, which means we wouldn't be, so then we have to go over here and borrow one. That would be a 7, but that's not enough for there. So we have to go all the way over to here. A 9, borrow 1, so we write the 8 up there. We bring the 1 over here. We write the 8 there. And then we have to borrow 1 from here, so we write the 17 and bring the 1 down here. And that's 1, 3, but look at that. We have to borrow 1 from here, so then we write the 12 up here. Finally, we get the 1 right here, so we have 1, 1, but we have to borrow 1, so we write the 10 there. Finally, we can put the 1 there. 16 minus 9 is 7. And then 10 minus 3 is 7. 12 minus 8 is 4. 17 minus 9 is 8. 8 minus 7 is 1, and 5 minus 0 is 5. Hey, how do you check this? Remember we talked about checking our work? Well, simply we can add these two. 7 plus 9 is 16, carry the 1. 8 plus 3 is 1, carry the 1. 5 plus 8 is 13, carry the 1. And then we have 9 plus 9 is 8, carry the 1. Then 1, 1, 7, that's 9, and then 5 finally. And we got the same answer up here, so we did it right. Let's go see how to do this in Excel. 598.316. Now I'm going to insert a new sheet. You can right-click and insert and point to Worksheet. Or I'm going to click Escape. You can Shift F11. Shift F11. And I'm going to call this Add and Sub. Notice I use a little ampersand there. Now what was that number? 598.316. Enter. And then I had 79.839. And then I'm going to subtract these. Equals this minus this. And I'm going to put click in this cell and Control 1 to go to Format Cells, and I'm going to go to Borders. Look at this. We can put a thick line on the top and then a double line on the bottom. If you're in earlier versions, this is reversed. This is over here and this is over here. Okay, and then I could say subtraction. And I'm actually going to right-click Insert. Right-click that one and insert it. I'm going to point to the edge here and move that up here, and then I'm going to call this what it is, the difference. Now I'm going to go back over to the PDFs. Oh, and I have my numbers. I'm going to take this 5, 1, escape. I'm going to do this right here. 518.477, and I'm going to add these two together. The 79,839. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say add. And then this is the sum or total or amount sometimes. And I'm going to watch this. You can click there, and there's this paintbrush. In 2007, the paintbrush is right there. In 2003, it's on the formatting toolbar. That copies just formatting. See how I have that cell highlighting? So when I click that, it's highlighting just the formatting, and then see the paintbrush, and then you can click. And now we can do our formula. Alt equals for adding. And sure enough, hopefully we got the right thing. And if we look back at our PDFs, 518477, 518477. Okay, so that's when you do your homework, that's what you want to do. You just open a new workbook and call it, homework for chapter 1 or something, or insert sheets in here. Now we got to go over to this sheet, and we got. I want to show you some important tricks for adding and subtracting. Now, total deductions. Watch what happens when I use I want to add up these deductions. Watch when I use Alt equals. What happened? Do not turn in a test like this. It's jumping, the dancing ants are jumping around the deductions and the gross pay. So see how it's highlighted? That's because Excel, and if I blew this up, Alt equals, it's got all the way over to B2, and it's not supposed to. So it's highlighted because it's polite. It knows that it makes mistakes sometimes. Now you can just highlight this and click right here and get those deductions and redirect it. Another way you can do it is if you Alt equals and the dancing ants are moving around. If you can see that little blue box right there, if you can wait and see that cursor, you can click and drag the dancing ant range and then reduce that. All right, so Control Enter. Control Enter just puts the thing in the cell and keeps the cell highlighted. Now I'm going to click and drag this down. I'm going to click in the last cell and hit F2 to check. Did it get it right? It looks like it got it right. Now I'm going to do net pay. I'll make this a little bit smaller because equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells to my left minus 1 cell to my left. Control Enter. And then I'm going to go and get my fill handle and click and drag it down. Now I'm going to click in both cells. And now what happens if I hit Alt equals? Now be careful. I'd immediately hit F2 and check to see if it did it right. And sure enough, it did do it right. Enter. Now let's see what happens over here. I'm going to do the slightly different formula because sometimes you don't have a column for total deductions. Let's see if I can do it like this. So the formula would be equals gross pay minus SUM open parentheses. Notice now this is a cell reference, an operator minus, and a function. And now I can just simply click and drag. These are all relative cell references. Now Control Enter. I'm going to click and copy it all the way down. And now I want to click in cell F6. And I want to show you why doing the sum function is so much better. I'm going to do a formula equals 1, 2, 3, 4 cells to my left minus 3 cells to my left minus 4 cells to my left minus 1 cell to my left. Notice there's no sum. It's just all of those operators and cell references. This is not a good formula. Watch. Control Enter. The reason why is because a lot of times with payroll and budgets, you're always inserting new columns. So if you insert a new column here, I'm going to point to the D column and right-click Insert. And now I need to copy this deduction 1 and drag it over to this fourth column, deduction 1, 2, 3. Now if I start typing, the values in here. By the way, these we didn't need to round because these are all actual correct decimals. But watch this. I'm going to enter 10 here. See how that updated? Let me Control Z on that. Watch. See, it's 632. But as soon as I add the deduction type 10, this updates. But watch this. And that's because we have this efficient formula right here using the sum. But watch what happens to this. This is called an inefficient formula. If I'm going to put 10 here, watch, I haven't hit Enter yet. Keep your eye there. If I hit Enter, what happens? It doesn't update. So if all of these were 10, all of these update, but that one does not. It's just not looking there. If you click here and hit F2, you can see that the sum function updated. Do not hand in Excel workbooks when you take your tests with formulas like this because it's wrong. It's wrong. Inefficient and causes lots of trouble. So how do we fix it once we have that bad formula? Well, if I hit F2 here, that's the right formula, so I can just click and drag it down. I'm not going to leave it there because you guys can download this answer workbook and it will show you that that's the wrong one. One other thing for this topic, this little section here, why do we not have to round when we're adding and subtracting? Here's the problem we did a little bit earlier when we were doing rounding. We had gross, we had a tax rate, and if you click in this cell and hit F2, there is the rounding, right? So when you're multiplying or dividing, that's the moment you round, right? Escape. Right here, when I click here and hit F2 for edit mode, as soon as I get to subtracting, forget it. All the numbers should already be rounded. Same with here. And click here and hit F2 to put it in edit mode. We're adding. Here's the things we've already rounded. So by the time we get to adding, forget it. We've already done our rounding. All right, we'll see you next video.